Hey guys, Shadow Strider here, and in today's video we will be talking about the new patch 0.4.4 changes that are coming to Dauntless. Remember to like the video if you enjoy it, as well as subscribe for more like it in the future. First, let's start with when the patch will be deployed. Official scheduled release date is for July 10th, which is already here in the EU where I live, but I presume the patch will be deployed sometime during the evening here and the afternoon in the US. It should be up at around 1700 hours UTC time. If you'd rather read only the patch notes, the link is in the description down below, but if you'd rather listen to them, then without further ado, here are the changes coming to Dauntless today. Starting off with the combat and balance changes. Elemental status effects are now based on the number of hits rather than the damage done. This means that the Warpike and Chainblades will apply the effects a lot more often and faster than any of the other weapons. My favorite sword takes the third spot, and I will leave you guys to decide whether hammer or axe takes the fourth and respectively the fifth spot. Do not forget, we are getting a sixth weapon next month. Next on the list is gear recipes, which have been made more straightforward for Nysaga, Pangar, Hylian, Stormclaw and Karabakh. I presume that this means the crafting will be easier and require less materials. Drop rates for rare breaks have been slightly lowered for pre-Maelstrom behemoths. The number of upgrades available for Embermane, Scraf, Drask, Nysaga, Pangar, Hylian, Stormclaw and Karabakh have been increased. What this means is that they can be upgraded to +5 now rather than the +4 as they used to be. This applies for both weapons and armor. The damage required to break both Rezakari's claws and legs has been reduced. Those of you who struggled with obtaining drops from him will now have an easier time maxing out their gear. Chainblade's dash invulnerability now starts 2 frames earlier, which will better match the video animation and hopefully allow everyone to properly evade with the weapon. Tragic Echo bonus damage has been corrected from 300% to 100%. I did not even notice that there was such a bug. Drask Lantern now grants increased bonus damage to Behemoth base health instead of just part damage. This bonus has decreased to 40% to compensate. The question I wanna ask is compensate for what? I think they are afraid that everyone will start running Drask Lanterns now. The medic cell will no longer trigger on self-revive, and I think it was about time they fixed that. Rezakari's tail hitbox has been adjusted to improve attack on it. I recall having a few issues with this, but now it definitely feels a lot nicer. Jumping will no longer cost stamina. Now we can just jump attack every single behemoth and slam them to the ground with hammers. Stormhammer has a new passive ability and will now automatically reload one shell when slayers execute a perfect dodge. Well, that's good to hear, but I do not use the hammer at all, sadly. Rezakari will now heal if slayers disengage from his encounter. Previously, Rezakari was the only behemoth who did not heal when you disengage, so this is something that needed to be done anyways. Life Drain tonic effects are now disabled, while the special effects of the feast are active. I was expecting this at some point or another. It was kind of overpowered being able to use the lifesteal and 9 lives to negate almost all of the damage from the hunger special. Pylons will now deploy quicker, and by that we mean in exactly 0.8 seconds. The range for damage boosts and defense boosts of pylons has been increased. Healing pylons now last 20 seconds. Healing per second has also been increased to keep the total healing the same. Pylons no longer have collision, which will allow us to move through them. The visibility of pylon range rings and status icons has been improved. Stamina gained from reloading Razorwing Hammer has been reduced to 20. This sucks for all of the hammer users who use this as their main weapon. I will give you a moment of silence. Executing a perfect dodge with Stormclaw Chainblades will now boost special meter by 400%, so that basically means you will get all your charges back from 0 to hero with a single evade. Burning damage dealt by Blaze elemental effects will no longer charge lanterns. This sucks because it gave such a nice boost to the charge rate. Charok's base health has been increased to better align with Slayer progression. I have no idea why they did that. I found his health pool at the perfect place, empty after slashing it with my sword. Adjusted frequency of Pangar and Hylian non-attack animation so that they happen less predictably. I have no idea what they did with that. I rarely see these two doing any non-attack animations. Most of the time it is just roll, stomp, tail swipe, or jump roll, tail swipe, breathe fire. Behemoths will now get stuck on islands less frequently, and I'm pretty positive here that you have to fix Slayers getting stuck before fixing the Behemoths getting stuck. Razorwing Karabakh will no longer attempt to dash through walls or past its targets when charging. Well, thank God they fixed Razorwing through the low Karabakh. Quillshot and Nizaga will now reliably drop brake parts thanks to a bug fix. I did not notice any problems with that, but if you say so, then so be it. Next up are the tech and performance changes. Firstly, we have a new updated icons for Insight Potions, Life Ray Tonics and Ether Drive Tonics. Icons for Platinum and Notes have been better differentiated. Acrobatic attacks made with the Hylian axe now have fire trails, which probably sounds nice. We have improved audio effects for sheathing and unsheathing weapons. Various icons have been cleaned up and many placeholder icons have been replaced with new ones. Embermane and Stormclaw have now new shock stagger animations. They have improved Rezakari's bullet rain visual effects, and I think by bullet rain they probably mean his aerial rainbow orbs attack. Sparkle effects have been removed from Arid Islands to improve performance. Coming next are the Islands and RAMSGATE changes. The canine populace of RAMSGATE has been improved. We have more dog helpers around now. Slayers now move more smoothly over varied terrains and surfaces, reducing jitters and trips. The town stylist, Gregario Flint, has improved his own fabulousness and the aesthetic appeal of Arkandrew, Wills Borman and Moira Hexscatter. Or more simply said, they all have new clothes. Razorwing Karabakh armor pieces now have icons. Osha has been kicked out of RAMSGATE and the roofs are now open for exploration. The mists surrounding the secrets of making misty things mistier have been demystified, allowing us to make misty things mistier, or simply put, mist effects have been improved by roughly 234%. Quest text for Hylian, Shroud and Rezakari has been clarified and made more informative. There are a few Slayer expression changes. The flare icon displayed in players' compasses has been updated to be easier to read. Flares can now be previewed in the style system menu. Embermane chest armor feather now looks 23.4% cooler. Lantern glow effects have been improved. Coming next are the EVERGAME and progression changes. Shroud and Rezakari will no longer show up in heroic patrols in the Maelstrom. The icons will still show up, but they won't appear in patrols. This means easier time for farming the heroics. Unlocking the Embermane and Drask lanterns now requires Slayers to collect 10 Embermane or 10 Drask parts instead of killing Skarn with a blaze or a shock weapon. This makes them a tiny bit harder to obtain. Normal Behemoth gear has been set to common quality, all Dire Behemoth gear has been set to rare quality, and all exotic gear has been set to legendary quality. Clarity around Nizaga, Shockjaw and Moon River parts has been improved by correcting for duplicate names. It is now more clear when Slayers have insufficient materials for crafting with the Weaponsmith and Armorsmith. The scale of crafting interfaces has been adjusted to show more items at once. A currently equipped section has been added to the crafting menus. This allows Slayers to make better decisions when crafting. Updated the Weaponsmith and Armorsmith lists to sort the strongest items to the top of the list. This is something I wanted to for a long time now, either a sorting system or a power source system, so you can upgrade what you have started easily rather than scrolling around the whole list. Crafting lists also are now sorted by rarity first, then alphabetically to reduce scrolling. Finally, we have the various bug fixes. The bug where Bulwark tonics could last indefinitely has been fixed. Players should more reliably return to town after completing a hunt. Axe and Warpike options will now reliably unlock when Slayers reach required Weaponsmith reputations. Many locations under islands on which Slayers could get stuck have been removed. Several Ether events have had their collision corrected to prevent unpredictable launch trajectories. Drask lanterns will now fire correctly on inclines. Firebrand Charok's tail swipe combos will now accurately connect with Slayers. The Hunger no longer incorrectly gains meter from items and lanterns. Fallen trees will no longer spam audio signals indefinitely. Charok's tail slam attack will now correctly apply area of effect damage. Embermane will now reliably wiggle before pouncing. Breaking Embermane parts no longer removes damage from unrelated attacks. Hammer users will not get stuck on other slayers when rocket jumping. The vertical ripped input has been corrected in the combo menu. Reputation tracks will now reliably update and reflect player progress. Stormclaw horns will no longer duplicate drops. Ingredient requirements will correctly reflect slayers' inventories in crafting menus. End of hunt menus will more accurately reflect the break parts slayers have earned. Patcher errors will no longer incorrectly trigger. Slayers will no longer get stuck in God Hand beam animations and cannot sustain infinite beams. Ether Hunter Cell will trigger bonus damage against Ether Charge Behemoths instead of Enraged Behemoths. Shroud's Corruption debuff will last for consistent periods of time. Stormclaw's Thundercloud Visuals will no longer fade during gameplay. Shrike and Scar Gloves will no longer clip through fingers. Karabak Helmets will no longer clip through Slayer's chins. Rezakari will now dissolve at the end of the hunt. Resolved an Axe Stamina bug which caused dodge costs to increase to 25 from 20 after executing a charge attack. Pylons will no longer strip off or incorrectly replace other buffs. Slayers will more reliably transition from cities to airship lobbies. Multiple quests have been adjusted to correctly display correct behemoth information in journals and maps. Shrike axes will no longer have overextended meter length. Rezakari Warpikes will now accurately build special meter. Camera perspective will now more smoothly transition between walking and running distances. Chainblade and Axe Island arrival emotes will now reliably and accurately display. Sentinel armor has received some attention to improve die regions. Behemoth will no longer destroy their own objects with AoE attacks. And this is the end of the patch notes, ladies and gentlemen. If you enjoyed the video and found it useful, then give it a thumbs up. If you wish to discuss something about it, drop a comment down below. Share the video as you see fit, and lastly remember to follow me on Twitch and Twitter at the links down below, as well as subscribe on YouTube for more video game and music content.